good morning, and welcome back to AskEma.com. I have a blog and a video channel on YouTube. My blog is AskEma.com, and my video channel is Ask Ema Giaccoli. So today I want to talk about buyer beware, since this is the state in which we purchase in. Should I say that? Yeah, why not? Okay, so buyer beware. Anytime you are making a real estate purchase, or any purchase for that matter, right? You know, everyone always says an informed consumer is the best consumer. I want you to take into consideration, and I want you to be mindful and not let your emotions run wild when you're buying real estate. Buying real estate in New York can be tricky. There are lots of paths that are not so clear, and although everything looks so shiny and nice and the real estate professionals are pushing it, you know, they work for the developers or representing the seller, and there's things that are not always fully disclosed. Now, my suggestion is, since we do operate in a buyer beware state, that you need to make sure that you are aligned with a buyer's representative who is transparent and honest and ethical, who has had tons of experience closing buyers, not listing houses. So let's not look for the agent who has the most exclusives, right? Because a lot of times the buyer agents don't get enough notoriety, market status, or share. I've had the privilege and honor to represent many people who have been not only happy, ecstatic with their purchases, and nothing was hidden from them. I disclose everything. I share how I feel. I let them know. They make the ultimate final decision, of course. And clearly, if you want to buy something that's defective in the end, it's your decision. But as far as I'm concerned, I have to point it out. So you always want to align yourself with someone who is ethical, transparent, and honest, someone who has a lot of experience closing buyers. And I say that for a reason. Working with buyers, when I first hung my license here in Brooklyn, I realized that I learned a lot from my first buyer experience. You know, she was so hungry to buy something in Brooklyn. At that time, you can purchase things for like $600,000, $650,000. Now those numbers are like for one bedroom apartments, but back then it wasn't. You would get a nice size 1,200 square foot condo. But she dragged me through the mud. I'm not gonna lie about that. We went everywhere, every neighborhood, every single townhouse, everything in Bed-Stuy, everything in Carroll Gardens, South Slope, Park Slope, you name it, we went there. So I learned a lot. I learned who the real buyers are. I learned who the tire kickers are. I learned about the fear that buyers have. Things that they don't share. I've also learned a lot that some buyers are just not loyal, and you know, it's the best education. I got to see tons of real estate, and I got to really hone in on my listening skills, and so buyer agents need to have fantastic deep listening skills. I mean, now it's like so many years later, and I'm still in real estate, and I represent both sellers and buyers, and I'm honest with my sellers as well, and I tell them that, like, I'm not going to hide anything and pretend something's better than it is, because it's just not the way to be. Because I feel like at the end of the day, I need to sleep at night, and that goes against my grain, being dishonest, and it's hard enough for me to sleep as it is without having that extra layer of guilt riding on me. So transparency is key. Years ago when I first started, people would say, oh, you're too honest, too direct, too this, too that, blah, blah, blah. You'll never sell real estate. 12 years later, I'm still selling real estate. And not only selling it, I bought a house in Brooklyn in 2011. So, you know, that's all nonsense, you know, smoky mirrors, you know, it's like the crabs in the bucket trying to pull everybody down. So buyer beware. There are times where listing agents will cancel appointments if it's raining out. That's probably a clear sign that something's wrong with the house. Or they may shift on you. If you want to go on the roof, they might say, oh, there's no access, or it's locked today. Who knows? Just make sure you get there before you ink the deal. Make sure that you have a local inspector looking at the house, or an engineer for that matter, especially in these old homes that are built in the 1800s. You definitely want to check these foundations out and things of that nature. Align yourself with local. Align yourself with someone who has a ton of experience closing buyers. Um, you know, like a good jeweler who is trained, his eye is trained to look at diamonds and identify flaws with or without the eye, added like eye that jewelers use. We have that too. We have that ability as well. As long as we have enough skin in the game, time in, sweat equity, ran around town, know the neighborhood you're buying in, know what to look for. There's all types of real estate: townhouses, brownstones, row house, brick house, colonial, siding, frame. These are all terminologies you'll hear. Tutors, ranch, split ranch. You want someone who knows. I know what every single home looks like. I know what a center hall colonial is. I know what a ranch looks like, a brownstone, a row house, a townhouse. I know the ins and the outs of pretty much all types of inventory because I never let any area define me. I've sold area in all 5 boroughs. Real estate in all 5 boroughs, excuse me. And there was a reason for that. I never wanted to be defined to one area, one type of real estate. It's a little boring and just wouldn't sit well with me. Like, I need to be out there and I need to know what's going on in my entire state. I go upstate, I look around at the houses there. I go from town to town, Mid-Hudson Valley. I love that area, from New Paltz to, down to New Windsor, to even lower to, Medina. I know the small little neighborhoods too out there now. I've been looking for a while to find a home, but buyer beware. You want to know about someone local there too. Septic tanks and things of that nature that we normally would not have to deal with in the city unless you're like buying out in Long Island or something like that, like in New York, in the inner areas rather than being upstate. So watch out for things like that. Make sure you go with someone local who can point that out. Radon, gases that come up emanating out of the ground. And things of that nature, So you want to make sure that you're aligned with someone who is local, someone who has a lot of buyer experience, someone who can point out all the negative things that they see, that they feel exist. A fresh coat of paint doesn't really hide black mold. Black mold's a big no-no. It is like a killer. It is like today's lead paint. The, HPD is cracking down. They're going to get into everybody's properties at some point or another, multifamilies, and they're going to crack down on that mold. Mold can be deadly to some people. It is toxic, and so always check with a professional. Some people just paint right over it. Oh, don't worry about that, just a little bit of blackness. What's blackness coming into a ceiling in a bathroom? It is mold. So please take a look at things like that. A leaky windowsills, roofs. Check out your neighbors. We live in tight quarters here in the city, so we want to definitely check out our neighbors and our situation. I highly recommend that you visit an area 3 times at night, on the weekend, in the morning. Do the commute more than 1 time. Whether you're buying in the city or you're buying in a suburb, just get in your car and do it. You don't have to, there's life outside of the 5 boroughs. New Jersey's a great option for people leaving Brooklyn. Maplewood is a hot area, and the homes are gorgeous, and they're under $700,000. Not all of them, of course, because we don't live in an absolute, so let's put some disclaimers out there. When I say their homes under $700,000, that doesn't mean every single home. And when there's homes in Brooklyn that are under $1 million, that's not every single house. Brooklyn's a really big place, and so we want to make sure that we understand that we don't live in a world of absolute. And so I bring you this information so that you can get clear, concise, honest to goodness, truth, wholesome information, and utilize it to your advantage when you're looking. And when you're looking for a local professional, ask them how many buyers did they close. A true buyer representative, not both sides, not dual agency, none of that. Just straight up buyers. How many times have they spent out on the field working with buyers and actually matching them, like nailing it? I can show people 3 properties and I know I'm nailing one of them. That's how good I got. But now, they used to call me the pit bull and the closer. So just, isn't that funny? Because I don't let go. You want to work with me and you dedicate your time to me and you're loyal to me, I'm closing you. You are getting a home. So I have been known to be called the pit bull, and for that reason, and the closer, because I'm a great buyer's closer and I'm honest, and things I don't like, I tell you. If they have split systems and they don't have a real heating system, I'll bring that out to your to your attention, because some people think, oh, that's so great, but it's really not so great, right? It can run into costly bills. So everything matters. Buyer beware. People do hide things, material defects that they're not supposed to. Make sure you know what side of the fence the agent you're working with is on. Make sure that they have your best interest at heart, and make sure that they make that clear from step one, the minute you meet them. And if you need a referral, let me know. I don't cover every single area. I can't be up in Westchester and be out in the Hamptons and be in Manhattan and be in Brooklyn at the same time. So I have a nice list that I'm creating called Ema's List, just like Angie's List, except that it's going to contain real estate professionals that really know their thing, that really know it, that are not just showboaters, that are not just talkers. It's going to include mortgage people that are genuine, that don't chase just the commission, that want you to fulfill your dream. I'm only aligning myself with people like that. So it takes me a little longer to get places, but it doesn't matter. I will only operate in that fashion, only so that I can be transparent and true to myself first, and then transparent and true to everyone else that I help. So remember, buyer beware. Look out for all of the signs: moisture, mold, water, leaky roofs, leaky windows, leaky patio doors. Okay, that they love to hide stuff like that. Cancellation of appointments during storms. There's a slew of things. So make sure you find someone who knows what they're talking about, okay? It's not just about sign on the dotted line, because once you do and you ink it, you're stuck with that 30-year mortgage. You're stuck in that property. You'd have to resell it. And if the market's not in your favor, you can have trouble with that. You can have a challenge. That's when people lose a lot of money in real estate. Okay, making poor decisions, making them hasty decisions, making emotionally based decisions. Use a professional. Let's remove some of the emotions and let's get you home. I'll talk to you soon. And part 2 of Buyer Beware continues. I had to split the videos in half. They're a little too long. All right, talk to you soon. Take care. Bye.